guys, Robo46 here. Welcome yourselves to round 12 of Robo's Racing League on Valentino Rossi The Game on the Xbox One. This week we are racing at Silverstone, so it's pretty much all of our home races. So let's go see how qualifying went. And it was Dylan who was on pole by quite a margin. He had a whole second lead over myself, who was in second. Armorland was third, Brandy Scales fourth, GSXR Matt in fifth, F1 Fan sixth, Moorland 97 in seventh, Pit Bike Rider 8th, Biker 9th, and FIFA Master in 10th. Unfortunately, Pit Bike Rider disconnected, so he couldn't actually race. So let's go and start this race. You got me on the left, Matt on the right. Let's get this started. For the first time, the Pramac Ducati actually got off the line pretty well for once. Didn't get bogged down. Went into the first corner in third. Brandy Scales came up the inside, pushed me a bit wide. I didn't actually move on his screen, so he didn't actually know I was there. So back down to fourth for a minute. Matt's in third. You've got Dylan in the lead. But a bit of a moment for Matt there as he got the animation. Dylan went a bit wide and through. I go into second. And then you got Moorland 99 in first place on the Honda at the moment. So all was going well at the moment. And I'm just trying to stay with our Moorland at the moment, see if I can maybe attack, get in the lead. Dylan dropped a bit further back at the moment. He was having a few issues, mainly with the Ducatis. But I kind of struggled in qualifying. Well, I thought I was struggling anyway. I wasn't really that happy with my time because I was nowhere near my personal best. Hence the big gap. So I was quite surprised to actually be in second on the grid. But yeah, obviously the race is completely different. Dylan's in third now. So that's who that arrow is just behind us. Our Moorland not really pulling away. So we're kind of staying stationary at the moment. This is a section that I was struggling with on the Ducati. It just wasn't getting up properly and getting out of corners properly, spinning up quite a bit. I didn't really want to mess with my traction control because I'm comfortable with it being on number 2. It's because obviously if I put it up anymore, I'm not going to have as much power coming out the corners. FIFA Master crashed a bit further back. So as you see, there is only 9 of us in this race because, like I said, Pit Bike Rider unfortunately disconnected. Tried rejoining, but unfortunately couldn't. So Armorland just starting to pull away a little bit. 0.7 of a gap over myself. Obviously Dylan right behind us. So he's not going anywhere. As we go through Maggots and Beckett's. So it's so easy to get the animation through there. That was the one place I was worried about pretty much. One of the last corners, which used to be really dodgy on the last MotoGP game. It's not too bad now. I've kind of figured out how to get through there quickly without actually getting the horrible animation. So at the moment, still in second. I think we've closed that gap down a little bit. But as we go into the chicane, Dylan comes in a little too hot and gives us a little nudge. Luckily, neither of us go down. So we didn't really lose any time either, so it wasn't nothing too bad. Well, we maybe lost a little bit of time. It's 1.1 the gap, but we pulled away from Dylan now. So got a little bit of breathing space. Now I was trying to get back to Armorland, obviously over a second gap, so I had to try and see if I could pull it down again, get back with him, do some decent laps and try and get back at the front. So come down like a couple of attempts. It was just under a second now, as was the gap back to Dylan, so that was going up slightly. This corner, this was a dodgy one in the last couple of MotoGP games, but it's not too bad on this game. You can still get the animation if you go in a bit too wide, but if you go in pretty spot on and don't outbrake yourself, then you're pretty much guaranteed not to get the animation. So that's lap 2 done. Moorland just on the fastest lap, so it's back up to 1.1. But now it was time to try and get the hammer down and try and get back up to him, get on their terms. Quite surprised that Dylan actually hasn't caught us back up yet. I was expecting him to regroup and re-attack, but that gap to Armorland has come down to 0.7 now, and 1.5 back to Dylan. So it was going the right way at the moment. The gap was opening back to third, and it was just starting to come down to first place. Pramac Ducati felt pretty good around this track. It's probably the best it's felt throughout the whole of the league so far. Because there isn't too much changing direction to do, which is where this bike definitely suffers. So 0.6 now, and 1.6 back to Dylan. So I was definitely trying my best to get onto terms with our Moorland, and it was working at the moment. So he went a bit wide there, and we are pretty much right with him now. Had to pile on the pressure. I could see the lead, and I wanted it. 0.3. So he obviously knew I was coming. But when would I attack? Trying to get some decent drive at the final couple of corners, especially onto going into the last corner. A little bit wide on the entrance, missed the apex, but didn't lose too much drive. So that was lap number 3. We just set the fastest lap of the race, and we were right with our Moorland. 0.2. As we go into Maggots and Beckett's, he had the animation, which meant that he had to go straight on, and we go into the lead for the first time in the race. 1.2 second lead now. Could I pull away? Would he reel me back in? Well, that's something that we're going to find out as we go back to Matt. On lap number 4, you see someone in the distance. So that is Dylan. He had the animation at the first corner and had to go straight on, which meant that Brandy Scales went past him, and so did GSXR Matt. Two factory Ducatis ahead of Dylan at the moment. You can be sure that Dylan was going to try and re-attack, but he actually had a crash there. So he's just crashed behind Matt and dropped even further back now. Bit further on lap number 6 now, and Dylan had caught back up to Matt after having a bit of a mare, and looking to go through ahead. So Matt's currently in 4th place. Brandy Scales is further up the road. Annoying notification coming through for Matt, which is why I turn my notifications off, because they're so annoying when you're trying to do a league race. Dylan just got better X out of that last corner on the Tech 3 using the slipstream, trying to get past, but obviously not as quick as a factory Yamaha, factory Ducati, sorry. But 3 goes into 4th place, so back down to 5th for Matt. So yeah, Dylan wasn't having it easy this time. He was struggling a bit on that Yamaha, despite being a second quicker in qualifying, but he did say that his bike felt completely different in the race. So, could he get back up to the front? Could he catch up to Brandy Scales? Could Matt go with him? Brandy Scales wasn't that far ahead. So, Dylan, they're filling in a Ducati sandwich at the moment. Back with me now on lap number 6. We haven't got a huge lead over our Moorland, but we're at the end of lap number 6. And the gap is pretty consistent. It's about a second, and that's where it was staying. It was kind of yo-yoing every now and again. As we start lap number 7, crash further back from Moorland 97. Not actually telling us what the gap is, but it is around the second mark. Almost had the animation there. My rear stepped out quite a bit, so I was actually really lucky not to get the animation there as we go through the split. It's under a second, so it's 0.6 now, so our Moorland was trying to catch us back up and start piling on the pressure back to us. Obviously try and force us into a mistake, or see if he can just overtake us by being quicker. And I think there's certain parts of this track where Moorland was quicker, and then other parts where I was quicker. This Pramac Ducati was getting out the slow corners pretty well, but it's just changing direction. Like through that chicane, it struggled a little bit. But obviously there is a that many direction changes one after another in this circuit, so it wasn't hindering me too bad. It was still 0.6, come down like slightly, like 600ths. But we're going into the section of the track where I was struggling. This is definitely the weakest part of the track for me. Dylan's just gone up to 3rd place. So he's got ahead of Brandy Scales now. It's still 0.6, so me and Armorland doing pretty much exactly the same times at the moment. We definitely did in that split anyway, that sector. Really, the final corner. I actually hit that barrier on my fastest lap in qualifying, which I was a bit annoyed about. But at the moment, keeping clear of it during the race, because I knew that if I hit that barrier I was going to crash. That's not what I wanted to do. We're on lap number 8 now, taking it quite easy through there now, because obviously didn't want that animation not this late on into the race and not from leading this much. So it's still 0.6 the gap, so again the gap is just staying consistent at the moment. If anything, it's gone up 300ths, but that's bugger all. So still just trying to push. Obviously I couldn't relax because otherwise Armorland would come straight past me, so I had to keep pushing, and obviously not pushing too hard that I end up making mistakes, because obviously don't want to be doing that, because then I'd end up throwing it away. With the split again, it actually gone up a little bit to 0.7, almost 0.8. But coming up to my worst section again, it was going to come down a little bit. And obviously it seems like the person behind's closer as well, because it's obviously a load of slow corners, so you kind of Constantina back up again. Through the split is 0.5, so it did come down a couple of tenths. Back with Matt now, lap number 8. So Dylan is in third place now. We did see him on screen on mine a bit earlier, go past Brandy Scales, but Matt is with Brandy Scales now. It's going to be the fight of the factory Ducatis. A little bit of a penalty for Matt as well, which he picked up a bit earlier. 0.4 of a second into the slightly dodgy corner. And he was stalking his teammate, looking for a way past. Where could he do it? Brandy Scales taking a very wide line around the final corner there. And going on the curb, which does slow you down a little bit. Into the first corner. Matt kind of barged him a little bit, but I think he let him back past. Yeah, he does. I think he kind of surprised himself there with going past him. Now he's got to try and do it all again. Right, back with me now on lap number 9. So the penultimate lap, still in the lead, still got Armorland right on our ass. And it was about to get a bit hairy for me as we go into the chicane. I so close to crashing. My rider gets flicked out of his seat. The rear almost completely went, but luckily managed to keep it upright. But there was not much of a gap behind me now. 0.3 of a second. He was closer than ever. It's the closest that gap has been to me. I was waiting for him to pounce at some point, so I decided to carry on pressing on, being a bit defensive into these slow corners. 0.3. So making me panic a little bit. Of course, we've still got one whole lap to go. Gone back up to 0.6, so just managed to pull out 3 tenths in one sector. And if I could do that in my weakest sector, then it gave me a little bit of hope. He's definitely keeping me honest the whole way. I have to keep pushing. So that is the end of the penultimate lap. back on the penultimate lap with Matt now. He's still right behind his teammate Brandy Scales. He was definitely trying to get him at some point as he closes in on the brakes there. Dylan has pulled away from these two. It was looking like Dylan was going to be safe in third place. Matt closes in on the brakes again through the chicane, and he was right on his teammate. Now he could use the slipstream. Again, closing a bit on the brakes. Brandy Scales had a little bit of a moment. Matt trying to go around the outside to put him at the inside for this corner, and just manages to get through. Brandy Scales picked it up a little bit, saw him coming through. So Matt was up to 4th place, Brandy Scales back down to 5th. Like I said, Dylan's got a pretty decent gap over these two, 3.1 seconds. Brandy Scales tries to go around the outside of Matt, not quite working. But he's still right on the tail of him. He tries to go up the inside. Not quite working now. Through the final corner to start lap number 10. Into the first corner. A little bit wide on the exit for Matt over the curb. That lost him a little bit of drive. And through the dodgy section. And time to fire it out a bit wide on the exit. Brandy Scales 0.6 behind, so Matt was actually starting to pull away from him. And it was looking like Matt was going to get 4th place. Brandy Scales not able to respond at the moment into the chicane. Bit of a rear wheel slide. But as he goes right, he goes on the curb and unfortunately unsettles the bike, and down Matt goes and unfortunately loses his 4th place to Brandy Scales as Brandy Scales moves through. Now back with me for the full final lap now. Waiting for our Moorland to try and attack me. Just had a bit of a gap at the moment. Trying to keep it nice and smooth, trying not to have any mistakes. Obviously we got through the danger zone anyway with that animation. So that's fine. It's 0.6 still. We've done most of the race with a 0.6 gap behind, so as long as we can keep it at that, we should be laughing. So the second danger zone is this chicane, as long as I don't outbrake myself and don't have a horrible moment like I did on the previous lap, which I didn't do. So the 2 danger zones out the way now. Still 0.6. Could I keep him at bay into my weakest sector? Annoying that my weakest sector was the last sector of the track. But he was still right on me. That arrow shows that he is right behind me now. That gap had come down to pretty much nothing. As we go through the split, 0.4. Just had to try and stand the Ducati out and fire it out the corners now. Only a couple of corners left to go. 3 corners. 2 corners left. Would he try and shove up the inside here? I was expecting it, but he didn't manage it. Firing it out. 1 more corner. And then the finish line. And we had a little bit of a gap over him now. He's trying to use my slipstream. But it was a win, finally, on the GP bikes for me. Closely followed by our Moorland in second. We got the fastest lap of the race as well. We managed to win at the Motor Ranch earlier on in the season of the league, but now we have finally done it at the track on our Pramit Ducati. Dylan, he ended up in 3rd place with Brandy Scales in 4th, not far behind him actually. He was catching Dylan, but then Dylan did have a bit of a moment on the final lap going into the final corners. He actually ended up hitting the barrier, which I was talking about a bit earlier. GSXR Matt was 5th, Moorland 97 6th, F1 Fan in 7th place. And then just 2 more, which is Biker in 8th and FIFA Master in 10th place, 9th place, sorry. So that is the race results. Finally, we get a win. What has that done to the championship? Obviously, Dylan is still in the lead at the moment with 261 points. Our Moorland is in 2nd place with 203. I moved back up to 3rd place with 193, so 10 points behind myself, between myself and our Moorland. Brandy Scales, he drops down to 4th place, 3 points behind me with 190. And then we got Moorland 97 in 5th with 130. GSXR Matt 24 in 6th with 123, just 7 points behind Moorland 97. Biker is in 7th place with 106. F1 Fan 8th with 93. Pit Bike Rider in 9th with 86. FIFA Master 10th with 74. Tempted DJ 11th with 29. Paradise 12th with 26. Gidsy in 13th with 25. Jack in 14th with 7 points. And JPAR Polo's 15th with 5 points. So that is really tighten the championship up for 2nd place. Just 13 points between our Moorland, myself and Brandy Scales. So 3 races left is definitely going to go down to the wire. Team championships look like this. Apex Predators still in the lead with 336 points. Drag Queens in 2nd with 298. Honda Britain in 3rd with 281. So they're not far behind the Drag Queens now. Closing in, they are. Winging extends over 5th place. So we're in 4th with 228 with that win. MP Yamaha Racing in 5th with 170, and 20 points behind them is Pit Bike Masters in 6th with 150 points. So that is the league race, guys. That is all of our home race, and managed to get a win at the, well, a good time in the league. Obviously could have done with a load more earlier on, but yeah, we finally managed to do it on the Pramac Ducati, so really happy with that. The next race will be on Monday, the 14th of November. That will be at Misano. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel for more content. I shall see you guys in the next video. See you.